You want to know how the people at the top have orchestrated all this? I've been studying this shit for years. And when you start connecting the dots, it's not theory. It's a documented plan. It's disguised as progress. And it all began in the early 1900s with John D. Rockefeller, the oil baron who figured out how to turn fuel into control. Right? And when electricity started replacing kerosene lamps, his oil empire began losing momentum. He didn't know what to do. So he found a new way to sell his product by putting it in people instead of in lanterns. He started pumping petroleum into tonics, and he called them miracle elixirs. He was mixing it with alcohol, morphine, kerosene. You fucking believe that? People were swallowing poison believing that it would cure them. And when the public caught on, well, Rockefeller, he pivoted again. He realized that he could own something far more powerful and far more profitable than oil. He realized that there was a British chemist who was turning petroleum into medicine. And the entire medical system changed forever once he made that discovery. And I'm talking about John D. Rockefeller, not the Brit. And what he did was, Rockefeller poured millions into lobbying, into grants and donations, and all of that reshaped medicine from the ground up. He funded medical schools, he rewrote textbooks, and he replaced natural homeopathic education with chemical-based instruction. And if it didn't come from petroleum, well, it wasn't modern science. And the doctors who refused to conform, they lost their licenses. Holistic universities were shut down. Natural healers were labeled as quacks. And the new system, what we now call healthcare, that's when it was born. Not to heal people, but to medicate them. It wasn't about curing anybody. It was about creating lifetime customers who were dependent on their drugs. And he didn't stop with medicine. He also took control of education. He poured money into curriculum reform and university endowments that shaped how generations would think. Think about that. You wonder why things are so fucking out of whack right now? I'm telling you, history was rewritten by this guy and many others, but he had a huge part in it. Textbooks were sanitized, and from that point on, truth became whatever served the system, and they call it progress. But that progress was poison, and that poison evolved. Now they don't sell kerosene tonics. They sell antidepressants and seed oils and chemical diets that keep people docile and dependent. They figured out the best way to control the most powerful species on the planet, and to do it was to divide people from themselves, to make them doubt their instincts, to confuse them about who they actually and truly are, to convince men that masculinity is shameful and that their personal identity is fluid and meaningless. Teach them that femininity is empowering and that men are useless creatures. And start early. Force kids into that system that teaches compliance instead of curiosity. And watch what happens. That's what they did. They decided, you know what? Test them until obedience feels like intelligence. And reward memorization instead of critical thought. And then you punish independence and any thinking that was outside of the box. And then you flood them with guilt about their ancestors. And you shame them about who they are. You show them chaos so they believe humanity is broken. Is any of this starting to sound familiar? Look around. This is what's happening. Look at what they do. They sell you idols with perfect faces and broken souls. They make money an obsession, but they make it nearly impossible to accumulate any of it without surrendering your time, your body, and your mind. And then they tax you to death, and they tell you that it's for your own good. Steal 5 days out of your week, and they give you back 2 so that you don't revolt. They realized they could feed people toxins that would numb their bodies and propaganda that would dull their minds, keep them entertained just enough to never notice the chain around their neck. And now they convince people that a person's worth is measured in likes and followers. Think about that. It's going on all around us. And when people finally break, medicate them. Not to heal them, but to keep them functional enough to keep serving the machine. And that's how you control a civilization without firing a single shot. You don't need armies when people police themselves. You just convince them that the cage is safety and they'll lock the door for you. You'd have thought that after 2020, people would have snapped the fuck out of it. But look around. Here we are in 2025, and people just voted to give the government more control over their lives. This is the machine that they built, and it's working perfectly as designed. They created a world that rewards distraction, that punishes anybody who wants to live with purpose. And they've made enslavement a lifestyle. But it's not a life, it's programming. And the only way out is to wake the hell up and to rebuild your body, your mind, and your spirit with discipline from the inside out. It's up to you to break the chains and to smash the mirror that they've got you living in, to take back that strength that they tried to strip from you. And if you're seeing through the fog, you're not crazy. You're awake, and you're exactly who they fear the most. If you're ready to reconnect with real men and real women who see it too, men and women who are rebuilding themselves and fighting back against the system, then join us. Drop Brotherhood or Sisterhood in the comments, and I'll see you in there.